Okay, welcome to the Fine Leg to Fine Leg podcast. I'm the person who knows about cricket in this thing. I'm Finn, and then James, who knows absolutely nothing and is here because he feels like it.
Hello, everybody. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through our Ashes 11 for the next Ashes in Australia, because we're both England fans. See if we can beat these Aussies down under for the first time in 10 years. So we're going to put together a side, or we both put together a side that we think can beat Australia in the series in 2021. So we're going to go through both of our teams, and then we've got some controversial picks, and we'll discuss those as to what we think the best team is. So if we start off with our openers, I think openers is pretty standard. England have found two openers. I've got Burns and Sibley.
Burns and Sibley, of course.
Yeah, I think Burns showed himself in the Ashes quite nicely when we were in England, and then scored that ton in New Zealand as well in November, which was promising. And then Sibley, he just batted very nicely in South Africa.
Yeah, both of them will bat for long periods of time, especially if we can get rid of a new ball in Australia when the ball stops swinging because they cheat with the Kookaburra ball.
Yeah, a Kookaburra ball swings quite nicely first few overs and then just sort of drops off, and then they have Nathan Lyon locking down one end, and it's a problem.
It's a disgrace, a Kookaburra ball.
Yeah. Number 3, who have you got?
I've gone for Denley. Someone needs to be there. He can bat for a long period of time. I don't think there's anyone else.
I've gone for Ollie Pope. I think in 18 months' time, Ollie Pope is going to be one of the greatest batsmen. You think of the young Joe Root. Remember the young Joe Root that used to open, the young Joe Root that used to open the batting for England, who then slipped to number 3 and number 4. And that's when he was really at his prime. 2013, 2014, 2015, Joe Root was outstanding. I think Ollie Pope could be that 2014 Joe Root.
Denley is a bit old. He's 32, I think.
So he'll be 34 when we go down under.
Yeah, I can see why you'd pick Pope, but I've got Pope somewhere else in the team.
Okay, number 4. Number 4, I think it's quite standard. We've both got Joe Root.
Of course. Yeah. 5.
I've got Ben Stokes. You can only put Ben Stokes in there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, probably our second best batsman. He's had a phenomenal, Cricketer of the Year 2019.
Best batsman.
We could say our best batsman, him and Root, both outstanding batsmen. But Ben Stokes, he can change the game. He came on at Newlands, took those final 3 wickets. He was outstanding. He did with the bat. He did damage. I think it was the 3rd or 4th. Was it? I can't remember which test it was in South Africa, where he came in, hit 77 off 40, took the game away from South Africa. And that quick fire innings gave us the time to bowl at them, which we needed.
Yeah, but also, he used to be just the guy who gets a quick fire innings when he, when we played New Zealand back 2015. And he scored the fastest ever ton at Lords. But now he's actually matured into a proper batsman who can bat long periods of time.
Right, number 6.
Number 6, I've gone for Jason Roy.
You know what? I had Jason Roy, but I've scribbled it out. I'm guessing you read the news yesterday saying that he wants to return in the middle order. Yeah. The thing about Roy is he needs to play more Test cricket. His highest Test score was in his Test debut for Surrey in 2013 or 14. So Roy needs to play more Test cricket. Obviously, we know how destructive he is in short formats.
If he bats at 6 in Australia on a hard pitch with the ball won't be swinging, I don't see how he's going to get out.
Yeah, well, because remember the 180 at the MCG. First game of that series, Jason Roy has hit the highest one-day score by an English player ever.
Yeah,
and he's done it quickly. His 50 came off 31 deliveries.
Yeah, but remember with an old Kookaburra, it's essentially playing with a white ball.
So I think Jason Roy, he could be in there. I think he's got to play more Test cricket in England, though, because he's got to understand what it means to play the Test match way, I reckon. Now, wicketkeeper, England's problem.
I've got folks in my subs. I think he's a class player. I'm not sure he could stand up to the likes of Cummins, Stark. I know if Stark will be playing or not. That will be interesting.
No, Stark will play. Stark will play in Australia. Mitchell Stark will play.
In Australia, yeah. Then,
I've got Ben Foakes in my side.
I feel I don't think he could. I'm not sure he's quite good enough. Yeah, he's good enough as a keeper. He's he is the best keeper England have at wicket keeping. But I think for me, it's either Buttler. I feel, depending on, it's quite hard to tell, but Pope, he could, if he doesn't turn out to be what he looks to be as an amazing number 3, if he doesn't turn out as good as that, he could come in at 7, I reckon.
Yeah, the thing is I've got Folkes in there because Butler's obviously struggled, and I think Ben Folkes, when you look at him as a batsman, I think he scored 100 when he was captain in Sri Lanka, when he played that one game as captain.
Yeah.
I think, you know, he's a gritty cricketer. That's how I describe Ben Folkes when he's batting.
He's good at playing spin. I'm not sure if he, because most wicket keepers are good at playing spin, but just the likes of, say, James Pattinson thundering one down on a Perth pitch, I'm not sure he could cope with that.
Yeah. Right, bowling attack. I've gone for 3 quicks and a spinner, and I've also got we've also got Ben Stokes, who obviously can change the game in the way he bowls. So my spinner, we'll go for the spinner first. I've got Dom Bess.
Ooh,
I like the way he locked down one end in South Africa. I can't remember if it was the second or third test. He locked down that end, and he was finally given those 2 wickets because he bowled fantastically. We have not had a spinner.
Very, very good.
We have not had a spinner that's been able to lock down one end and just control the game whilst the seamers do the work from the other end in the way that Dom Bess did in South Africa. And then obviously he got that fifer where he skittled them. I think that was particularly impressive.
I believe I've got the player that has been able to do that, and he lost some form, but I reckon he'll come back better than ever, and that's Moeen Ali. I think Moeen Ali is just a class act. I know he's vulnerable to a short ball, but surely he's worked on that. You can only think. He captained Worcestershire to, I know it was a T20 Cup final, but that just shows the progression he's made. He was one of the 3 or 4 players to get a full contract across white ball and red ball cricket. I think that shows how much England back him.
Yeah.
And I think, he's definitely in there to stay. I think he was out of touch. He played way too much cricket. I was lucky enough to meet him out in Barbados, the series where it actually, unfortunately, started to go a bit wrong for him. But he said he was going to go back, get 4 days at home, and then go out to the IPL.
Yeah. Right. Bowling attack. I've got 3 quicks. And I've gone for the Australian way. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say one thing on Ali.
Yeah.
I was thinking instead of having a spinner, I might go with Cuzzer. Sam.
I've got him. I'll tell you where I've got him, because you know how I think about Sam Curran. But I'll talk about Sam Curran in a bit. So my 3 bowlers are Jofra Archer, obviously, Mark Wood, if he's fit.
Of course.
Wrap him in cling film, please. And the 3rd quick, I've gone for Chris Woke.
I've gone for Stuart Broad. It would be his last series. He would only be bowling maybe 82. But coming round the wicket, the seam movement he gets, I think that's unparalleled.
The thing about Broady is I've gone the Australian way. I've gone for 3 quick bowlers, or one is slightly less quick than the other 2. But with Woody, if you look at Australia's bowling attack, Stark bowls 150, 145 constantly, and he can throw down 160 mile an hour Yorker. 160 Ks Yorker. You look at Cummins, he's bowling 145 consistently. He's nipping it about. He's reversing the ball when it gets to 45, 50 overs old.
I think, but it's just the movement he gets. I mean, Hazelwood, he gets a little bit of movement, but he's a bit of a Glenn McGrath. And Glenn McGrath was great, but he's like B-Tech Glenn McGrath. He puts it in a decent area each time. I mean, of course, Glenn McGrath nailed this down, and I don't want to disrespect an amazing bowler, but he just puts it in a bit of an area, and I don't think that's how cricket is played at Test level anymore. And I think Wokes, he relies too much on movement in the air, and that's why I've gone for Broad, who, yes, he does get movement in the air, but he gets nip off the seam, and you just look. Of course, it's very easy just to say, oh, he's going to get Warner again, but of course Warner's going to prepare. But against a left-hander with an Australian team that I know their two best players are right-handers, but that will probably contain a few lefties, with someone who's just the world's best at getting left-handers out for a seam bowler. I think that's...
Well, you look, they've got to have Warner. They could have Khawaja, although it's unlikely. They could have Travis Head. They could have
and
Matty
this is
Wade.
2 years down the line.
Yeah, but I still think, Travis Head probably will be sitting in that middle order somewhere. You look at David Warner, will obviously play.
Wade
it's Australia.
will definitely be playing.
Wade will be playing. So I think with Brody, maybe even if Brody came round the wicket to the right-handers, you remember, I think it was maybe in the second test, when Jimmy bowled round the wicket at Steve Smith. Steve Smith really struggled. And I think Smith would have been given out LBW by when he was on, I can't remember what score he was on, but I think it pitched like this much outside leg.
Yeah, that's the
decision.
real problem with it, though, isn't it? That's because as a left-hander, which I am, you can, when you go over the wicket, you can bring it back into them, and because of where your arm starts, it won't pitch down leg that much. But still, umpires, they always, I hate it. They love to give, it's pitch down leg as an excuse all the time. I hate it. But
what we need a quick left armer. You look at Trent Bolt's delivery at the MCG, fourth delivery of the Boxing Day test, and he absolutely nailed Joe Burns' middle stump. You look at that. If
beautiful.
only England had one of those. We have right arm
Harry
attack.
Gurney.
Ben, you can dream. Right, so...
Well, our one problem with our plan is what I've heard is that what Silverwood wants to do is he wants to play Archer one test and Wood the next, so they don't bowl too much and don't get injured. But it allows us to have a bowler bowling incredibly quickly. Now, I would much prefer having both of them.
Yeah, play them both together.
Yeah, but Scott, you've got to think about it. That is a big injury risk. Also, that leaves us with two bowlers that, if they're going to be bowling at 95, I can't see them bowling much more than 14 overs in a day. And in Test match cricket, especially in Australia, you might need to have bowlers bowling 26, and you can't just give Ali the ball for ages.
You look at Don Best. Don Best did that in South Africa. He took the ball for a 24, 25 over spell. And also, we have we're forgetting about Ben Stokes.
In South Africa, you could argue it's got similar conditions to Australia, and he was still taking wickets because he's a nippy bowler. He does get movement because he's short, and a left-hander is it's a good asset to have. If you look at most teams worldwide, they'll have a left-hander. And
I think we're the only one that they don't. The only team that doesn't have a left-hander is India. They obviously have their left-arm spinners, but they don't use a left-arm quick, because you think like Shami, Bumrah, Ishant Sharma, they don't use a left-arm seamer. And they're probably the only country. You have Trent Bolt, Mitchell Stark, obviously.
Who do the West Indies have?
Sheldon Cottrell, but obviously he doesn't play Test cricket or much Test cricket. But then look, Pakistan, they are the left arm bowling attack.
Yeah, but then you've got South Africa. They played that one guy, Henderson.
Buren Hendricks.
Oh my God, he was dreadful.
Yeah. To be fair, South Africa's bowling attack without Ngidi and Rabada is quite toothless, and we saw that in the last game of the series. They really struggled.
Not had that series.
Oh yeah, Nortje was excellent.
Nortje
was the top wicket taker, and he played with the bat as well. I think he was two off 70, 80 balls. He knew how to stick around as a night watchman.
Not quite Mark Wood's. What, 42 off? How many?
Mark Wood was endangering England's record for the fastest Test 50 ever. Do you remember that 100 partnership between Brody and Woody at the end? It took us to 400 at the Wanderers.
That was a joke.
Yeah. So in my reserves, I've also got Buttler. As we've talked about it, Josh Buttler might be. I've got Ollie Stone. I've got another quick.
Ollie Stone. Yeah, I do rate Ollie Stone. I reckon. I want to see if Parkinson could play a long format. No, not Parkinson. Well, yeah, actually, I
I
would
do
like
like
to leave
Parkinson.
Parkinson, the leg spinner.
Yeah,
But
I like
I think
Parkinson.
just
One, because he's a Bolt Wanderers fan, and so am I. But
well,
two,
definitely.
Parkinson is he's a good bowler. I think he has a bowling average of quite low in the county championship, but his batting is a problem. I think he averages
Yeah.
3 with the bat.
Yeah. What is it? Sajid Mahmood. I reckon he's fast. He could. He definitely played in New Zealand in the T20 games. I would think he
Yeah,
played in those.
and he played in the final ODI game against South Africa.
Yeah. I think he's fast. I want to see if he can, because I know he's quite expensive in T20, but he does take wickets. And obviously, I know you can't just if you happen to take wickets in one format, it does not mean you're going to take wickets in another. But it would be interesting to see if he could.
Yeah, the thing is I've got we have lots of quick bowlers that could, whereas Australia have 3 quick bowlers, or 4 quick bowlers even, Pattinson, Cummins, Hazelwood and Stark, that will. And so we have 2 bowlers that will, but it's about finding that third bowler. Do you go with Broady as you want to? Go with Woakesy like I'm thinking, go with Curran. You know, it's just that, and that's the problem we have as an England team, is obviously we have that middle order problem, which hopefully getting a number 6 in Australia and bumping Pope up to number 3, we don't have middle order collapses. Because you look at Australia's middle order and tail end, you have Tim Payne making 50s, you get Pat Cummins making 50s, 25s, 30s. You have who else there? Stark chipping in.
Yeah,
Stark chipping in with runs. I think his highest test score.
Pattinson when he stuck around with Smith for a while.
Siddle when he stuck around against with Smith. You remember that was at Edgbaston. We had them 122 for 8, and then Siddle came out and he was prepared. He was like, "Smudgy, I'm going to stick with you," and he scored 40. Smith scored 140, and that basically took the start that we had when they were something really low for 3. When Broady was running riot and the Holly stand was buzzing, that partnership between Siddle and Smith was a real problem.
Yeah, of course. In terms of more players, I think so far all of our players have been fairly mainstream, even if they have been a bit controversial. But to go to the county championship, I think I am a Surrey fan, and one off spinner who I think could be very good is Amar Virdi. He's only 21. He took quite a few wickets last season, and I think he rags it for a spinner. I think he could definitely be a contender. He has been talked about a bit, but not enough.
The thing about the county championship is it's a 75, 80 mile an hour nipping across a green wicket. It's a bit different from the massive patriotic bowls that you get in Australia, like the Adelaide Oval, the Gabba. The Gabba is an aggressive place to go. It's like our Edgbaston.
Yeah.
Like when you saw the Test Amazon series, Tim Payne going, Edgbaston was an aggressive place. And then all the on the way back from the bus, like singing "We Saw You Cry" on the telly and stuff. And Cameron Bancroft going, he said he let it get to his head when he first walked out of Edgbaston. It was nothing that he could believe.
Yeah.
I think the Gabba.
So funny.
It was good. The Gabba was something is something that equivalent. You remember the reception that Broady got in 2013 when he didn't walk, when he nicked it to slip.
He became public enemy number 1
of Australia. But if it's Justin Langer, when that happens again, it's not abuse, it's banter. But when the English were doing it, the abuse.
Yeah. When I went to Australia, I went because we went on a holiday somewhere else, but then we went to watch the Test at Melbourne when Cook got his 253 batted through the innings.
Yeah, you went to the MCD, didn't you?
Yeah, and we also went to the SCG as well. It's best holiday ever.
We got smashed at the SCG. We got absolutely smashed. The Marsh brothers.
So hot. It was the hottest day for years.
Oh yeah, the Marsh brothers absolutely ran riot, which was frustrating.
So back onto my story. Not a very good one, clearly, but there was this guy, and he was in a wheelchair and a neck brace, and then he was just screaming at Broad. Oh, you little! I think you said we're not allowed to swear on this, but the abuse he got.
The thing is, part of Australian culture is swearing as well. And the thing is when do you remember when Broad made that 50 with Alistair Cook to get him to his double 100? Broad made that fighting 50.
hit 2 class sixes.
How many Australians cheered for that 50?
Oh, but in fairness, how many England players cheered for Warner's 60 when he got his sole 50, his sole
61.
score?
61. Oh,
He
what
didn't-
a brilliant
he
total.
didn't- Across 10 innings, he didn't manage to get 100 runs in that series. It's just unbelievable to think.
Oh,
I'd expect Jack Leach if he opened the batting. One player whose batting is abysmal but likes to think he's quite good is Archer.
oh,
The
yeah.
man
I think
cannot bat.
the only innings that I've seen Archer bat well in is when he scored 40 odd trying to save the game in the first test against New Zealand.
Oh, even then. So I know he's had his, but even the free hit in the World Cup final where he just got bowled. Imagine how much easier if he just hit 2.
No, the thing is though that was a free hit. It didn't actually really matter because
free hit, and Stokes said it was a free hit, but I mean just the ineptitude not to hit the ball.
especially because if he just touched it into the leg side, because all their fielders I think were on the boundary at that point. If he'd taken the pace off it, even mishit it slightly and spun it into the turf, so Tom Latham had to go gather
not
it.
that fast either.
Yeah, because if you think, if you spun it into the turf, you remember when MS Dhoni did that, and he was short by inches when he did that,
Yeah.
and Guptill pinged it, and that was a brilliant direct hit. If Archer had done that, that would have been 13 off 6. Stokesy tumps the ball for 6, and suddenly 7 off 4 is a much better prospect than what 7 off 2 would have been if the freak hadn't happened.
Yeah.
You know, came off the bat. So,
what are your opinions on that? It's been overlooked as a controversial moment. I think it is controversial.
It is controversial, but it's controversial. I think it's made out to be more controversial than it was. Stokesy hasn't looked at the ball. All right.
Yeah, of course. I'm not saying that Stokes did anything wrong. He was actually looking at Tom Latham because that's what cricketers do. So they look at the keeper to know. Well, good cricketers. They look at the player. The keeper.
Oh, do you remember what Johnny Bairstow did Steve Smith?
That was unbelievable.
That was my favourite moment of the summer in the Ashes when Bairstow was like, "Oh, he's coming this way," and then Smith dived full strength.
That was so funny.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think Jason Roy at 6 could work.
Could work. I want
to see him in India. If we end up going to India this Christmas, I would love to see Jason Roy play in India.
Yeah, especially because India have 3 bowlers at 90. I think that's Jason Roy's ideal environment. My one thing about trying people is now with the new system. What is it? Essentially the World Cup for cricket.
The Test Championship.
It's been badly affected, of course, by the coronavirus. But I'm really not sure if it's going to work or not. But nevertheless, I think it's really hard to test players, to try them out. Yeah,
one player that I wish would start playing Test cricket again, but is really controversial, and I know people are going to hate me. I wish James Vince started playing Test cricket again.
I think he is such a good player. I really rate him as a cricketer.
Also, you just look at that cover drive. Just go fetch it.
Yeah.
Vince playing Test cricket again would be good because he makes huge scores for Hampshire.
Yeah. Oh, he's unbelievable for Hampshire. Oh, just watching him bat, it's unbelievable. I love him. That's a player that I think's a bit. I think he's a touch overlooked. But remember, last time we went down under, he scored decent runs. He was one of our best batsmen.
Yeah, I know that. He would have made a ton if he hadn't received the ball of the century at the Wacker. My man would have made a ton.
That was such a fluke. That annoyed me so much.
I know. And also, what was it? The 80 something that he made in the Gabba. We had control of that game. We were 190 for 2. Root of it, and it's an unbelievable piece of fielding to run him out. But he was obviously a little bit sluggish between the wickets.
Yeah.
You think if you just take those chances?
Yeah, I really actually, maybe he could fill that number 3 role. If Pope doesn't play out the way we want him to,
or if Pope drops down to 6.
Of course, Pope down at 6, but then no Roy. of course, there's always a struggle of who you're going to drop. But
Okay, final
let's-
11. Burns and Sibley. Yep.
But yeah, of course. For 3, I'm going to agree with you that Pope could be the man. It's hard to tell from now, but I'll go with Pope for now.
Root and Stokes, obviously.
Yeah.
I think we're agreed on Jason Roy. I would say play some more Test cricket, and I think we're agreed on Jason Roy. I'm still backing Ben Folkes as wicketkeeper. I like Joss Buttler as a cricketer. I mean, putting one of those sixes in Newlands on the top of Table Mountain.
No, but
when he scored that quick fire,
he's really trying, and I think he'll come back. I'm sticking with Butler.
Okay.
I don't think
Bess or Ali. I think time will tell. I think that's all we can say. How does Don Bess develop as a spinner, and how does Ali get back?
It's far better than Bess, but whether Ali gets back to his best is the where Ali gets back to the best is the question.
Archer and Wood. Yeah.
Archer and Wood, and then I think it depends. Either Broad, his body will start going like Anderson, because Anderson, he's the one player who's playing, not the one, but he's one of the few that they don't go out of form. Their body stops letting them be able to play.
Yeah,
I think
he bowled 4 overs at Edgbaston, tore his calf, came back, played the first game in Pretoria, then played the game at Newlands, and then he got injured, and then he was gone again.
Broke his rib. I think he's an unbelievable bowler.
Well, he's the greatest fast bowler of all time.
Yeah, without a doubt. It is such a shame that he's struggling at the moment because of injuries and stuff. But it shows the level. I know this is a bit of a side, but the level that he got to, that he was picked, even though there's doubt about his fitness, because he's just so good. But I think I think Broad. If Broad's fit, it's definitely Broad for me. And then if he's not, I still think you'd go for Curran. Just because Curran doesn't rely so much on swing. I know he does.
Curran takes the new ball, though. That's the thing. Curran takes the new ball, and I don't actually like it when Curran takes a new ball, because I think if you got Woody and Broady with a new ball, or Wood and Archer with a new ball.
Archer, I'd go with Archer just with the in-swing.
Yeah. But, so maybe we're still undecided on that third bowler, but I think we're pretty much decided on a batting order, and that's been the problem.
Yeah. I think having 2 good openers, that's going to be such a boost for us. That's going to make the world a difference.
Yeah. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks everyone for listening to the first Fine Leg to Fine Leg podcast. See you next week.